Have you ever looked at a slice of pizza and thought, this needs rhinestones? Well, buckle up, because today I'm turning this Galaxy Glam AI generated pizza slice into a pair of fabulous earrings. I'm so excited. It's sparkly, it's weird, it's everything we love here at Rad City Design Studio. So let's get messy with some resin and make something totally extra. So I'm gonna start by creating the frame here, and I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna get rid of this little weird edge, or this weird end, and then I'm gonna, I don't know how long this is. It looks maybe like 6 inches or so. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Ignore how dirty that thing is. So this is the 5-inch mark. So I'm gonna say it's almost actually like 9 inches. So 9 inches to start with. I'm going to cut it directly in half so that I have 2 equal pieces here. And then I'm gonna begin building my frame. So the very first thing I wanna do is create my bail at the top. So I'm gonna take some round nose pliers, and right at the center, I'm gonna go almost to the very bottom, but not quite. So just like right, I'm gonna go down here, and then I'm going to push one side that way, one side this way, and then that loop is going to be my bail. Okay, so I have that circle right there in the middle. I'm going to do the same thing to this one. So right at the center line, and then one side that way, one side this way. And I don't want to push it all the way around because I want this to remain flat toward the top here. Okay, so now I have these 2 loops, and I'm gonna try to get them to lay as flat as possible. Same thing over here. And you don't have to do this. You could do this any way that you wanted to, but this is just how I'm approaching it. So I'm gonna do like 1 thumb tip away from the loop. I'm gonna make a small bend just to show me where I want that to go. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Like that, okay. Same thing on this side. And over here. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to bring them together into a triangle shape. Okay, and this might take some finagling. You want to try to make sure that that bend up there at the top, again, we're aiming for these pieces to stay flat so that when our final shape is there, it's going to be consistent. Okay, and so we're going to have a little bit of an overlap down here at the bottom, and that's okay. So same thing on this side. In this side, and then I'm going to widen them back up, and then I want to try to get them to lay as flat as possible with those 2 pieces in the center meeting. But if I can't get it to lay perfectly flat, that's okay, because when I use tape to seal them, that will certainly solve that problem. Okay. There we go. Awesome. Okay. So So one of the reasons why I wanted to make these little pizza slices is because my husband and I have started a new tradition for the summer where every Friday after he gets off work and after I'm wrapped up for my day, we go and we have pizza at this local pizza place in the town we live in. And they are so good. The guy makes pizza on focaccia bread, which is kind of like a revelation. It's similar to like a Detroit style pizza, but personally, I find it way better. But I will say, I love Detroit style pizza. Okay, they're pretty close. They're not identical, and that's okay because what pizza slices are. So now what I'm going to do is find my resin tape and tape these up so that we can start working on building our base here. So I'm going to be using Kisserol UV resin. I love this resin right now. If you like it, or if you are interested in trying it, I'll have a link in the description. Good price, good product. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of try to get these to meet in the middle. Then I'm going to dip it. And I'm going to hold it in place. I'm going to set this aside so I don't accidentally cure that little dollop. I'm going to hold it in place and then I'm going to shine my light on it. Okay, so I'm just going to hold this for a moment until it's solid. Okay, first one done. Now I'm going to do this one. Same deal, just gonna dip the very center and cure. Excellent. Okay, so now I'm gonna fill these in. And to do that, I'm gonna again try to get it to lay as flat as possible. It's okay if some drips out though, because I am kind of going for like a drippy art effect with them, so it'll be okay if it's not perfectly within the frame. Okay, so I'm really excited about this project. Pizza is, I would say, probably my favorite food behind tacos. So it goes, my husband and I debate this all the time, like what's the best food ranking, and mine goes tacos, pizza, and then dessert. And his is like chicken wings, brisket. I mean, his are obviously like more grown, like his are totally more grown up than mine are. I'm like, just give me pizza. All right, so one triangle down, now the other one. And I just kind of like absorbed that the dot of resin that I had originally put down. Okay, so now I have my two triangles. This one I had a little bit of a gap in, so I had to fill it with more resin, which is fine because I'm going to cover all this up anyway, but still. Now I'm going to turn them both over and just add resin to the back just to kind of beef it up a little bit. Okay, so I have these two sets of nail transfer foil. I'm going to use this one as like the crust, so to speak, and then this one for the body. And what I'm really aiming for here is just to create a fun, interesting base. So you might not see a lot of this in the end, but I just want to have it there so that I can have some interesting stuff to work around. So I'm going to do this in two waves. I'm going to first, I'm going to trim a little bit of this off using my little nail scissors. And then, so here I'll save that one for a little while later. But this first one, I need enough to go across. And I think it's wide enough that I should just be able to snip some off of this. There we go. And so again, these are just like nail transfer foils. And then so how I'm going to do it is I'm going to put more resin up here, and then I'm going to press this down, and then I'm going to remove it so that, well, I'm going to cure it and then remove it. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to use a little paintbrush here. I'll put a little daub over here. And I'll start with this slightly bigger one. Okay. And I'm just painting this on the area where I want the idea of a crust for my pizza. It's like galaxy pizza. There we go. And I'm just making sure that I have contact all the way around, because if I don't have good contact, then it's not going to work. Okay. Okay, and then I'm gonna peel it away. And there we go. Cool. Then I'll just trim off whatever excess there is as I keep going throughout the project. But I love that. Okay, setting that aside, now I'm going to do the other side. All right, and then I'm going to do the body of each one. Oh, so cool. Okay, that looks really neat so far. I'm all excited about it. All right, and then we'll do this side. Let me move this out of the way. Cool. Okay, so I lost a little bit of color there, but like I said, because I'm covering most of this up with other features and things like that, I'm not super worried about having a perfectly flat piece. Okay, I'm going to use a little bit of this gold to kind of, again, shape out what I want to be the crust. And it'll probably cover up most of the hollow, but that's totally okay. Like I said, I was just putting that there to get little bits of it in the final product. Although I do think that would be a cool look if you weren't necessarily going that route. So I'm just gonna kind of like create a crust-like shape here. First by just laying down color, so I know that I'm getting a good full coverage, and then I'll build it up as I go. And this is just acrylic paint, but it is a really, really great gold finish to it. Then I'll do the other side while that part dries, or I'll do the other piece, I mean. Okay, so they're drying now. And much as I loathe to do this, I am going to kind of cover some of this with a few options. I've got some glitters, and I've also got some rhinestones. I have a lot of different things that I'm going to play around with and see what I like best. So I'm going to start off. I know for a fact that I want to use these little black ones as like olives. And then I want to have these larger hexagonal shapes as maybe like pepperonis or something. I'm trying to decide if I want them to be red or not. And then I do have this, which I think would make a cool cheese, but I almost think it's actually a little too orange. So I'm going to look and see if I have anything in a more yellow. Okay. So I think what I'm gonna do is just sprinkle a little bit of this yellowish pink opal. It's called Sunshine Shimmer, and I think I got it at Hobby Lobby, but it could have come from Michael's, don't quote me. But I'm just gonna do a couple of sprinkles of it, just to kind of like give the illusion of, I don't know, cheese. So just a few sprinkles. Don't want to completely cover up the hollow. If I do end up completely covering it, it's okay, because that was kind of an afterthought, but I think it looks really neat right now, so I want to try to preserve at least a little bit of it. And cure. Okay, so the closest thing I could find in my stash were these plastic rhinestone beads, and they're a bit big. And although I kind of love like the comedy of having these huge pepperonis on here, I don't think that's the route I'm gonna go, even though, God, like the more I look at it, the more I love it. But I do want something that's maybe a bit more proportional, because these are really big, you know. So I think what I'm gonna do is make my own using resin and maybe some alcohol ink. Okay, so I have a box of jump rings, and I have these smaller gold jump rings. Might have to dig some out. Yeah, like these, or maybe even those. Let's see. I could probably even get like 3 on there, which would be great. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna use this size, and I'm gonna pull out 6 of them. Okay, let me put the rest of these back. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what color I want these to be. And I was thinking red, but I'm also kind of thinking like, what if it was a cool like color shift? And since everything else is kind of, you know, crazy anyway, I think that that would be a lot of fun. So what I'm gonna do is a technique that you've probably seen me do before if you've watched my videos in the past. But essentially I'm going to rub, I'm trying to get rid of a little hair there. I'm gonna rub some color shift mica directly onto this, and then I'm gonna lay these on top and then add my resin. So I'm gonna open this up. Hopefully it won't spray everywhere or spread everywhere. And then I'm just gonna lay that directly down. And I'm just gonna put enough to try to get enough space to cover all 6 of those jump rings. Okay, getting closer. Okay. Okay, that should be enough. Then I'm gonna put these guys in there, and I'm just gonna lay them directly on, and then I'm gonna fill each one with a little bit of resin. Okay, so I have my little faux pepperonis, or whatever we're gonna say that they are. And I'm gonna bring my little pizza slices back, and we're gonna put them on. So I'm thinking like just a couple here and there, maybe like 3 on each slice. You know, I'm not crazy about it. I think that they're too dark. I need to do something to make them more like bright and vivid. So maybe some paint, maybe some, I think I know. I'm gonna use this hot pink on them. Let's see. This would probably work best if I attach them to something. Okay, I'm just gonna tape them down. That might make my life a little easier. Okay. And then I'm just gonna drop a little bit onto each one. Okay, so this is going to take a little while to dry. So in the meantime, just come back to it in a little bit and we'll see how everything goes from there. Okay, time for assembly. So I took both pizza slices, added some little dollops of resin using a paintbrush, and I made sure that the dollops were a little bit bigger than the pepperoni itself. So I laid them out in 3 different spots, and then on the other one I did the same thing but in reverse. Because I had the resin out, I went ahead and added a few more dabs here and there to be able to add my olives as well. Okay, tell me these aren't the most ridiculously iconic earrings you've ever seen. We've got holographic crust, cosmic pepperoni, and just the right amount of over-the-top glam. Wait, glam? I meant olives. Exactly the kind of snack we serve up here at Rad City. So if you loved this transformation, make sure that you hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed because there is resin mayhem every single week. Also, drop your weirdest and sparkliest AI inspo below and I might just turn it into next week's reality. So go make something awesome this week. And as always, stay rad. If you're ready for even more wild AI transformations, make sure you check out my Wednesd-AI playlist. Click here now.